This podcast is brought to you in part by PNP Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their website at pnpgames.com or at their 2 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Let's get started.
All right, everybody, and welcome to the bonus stage episode number 34. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison. Recording this on Friday, June 21st, 2013. A bit of a delay from when the last shows were recorded. We'll get into that in a second. But as always, the man, the myth, the grumpy cat, Jeff Ward.
Yes.
Jeff, how's it going?
That's the worst introduction I think I've ever received on this show, and that goes far back to Tom and I used to do the show. You know, these dudes on games, whatever you want to call it. Worst introduction I've ever gotten.
I aim to please.
That's good. You're gonna have, if you want to, improve on that. You've set yourself a pretty high bar. If you want a worse introduction.
Oh, come on.
I figured you were gonna go with the legend, and I would have been really okay with that.
No, I mean, because you're not a legend. You're a grumpy cat. I mean,
not a legend yet.
Not a legend yet. You have to be around a little.
That.
You have to be around a little longer to be a legend.
Yeah.
So how's it going, Jeff?
It's going good, man. How about you? I'd say it's been a long time since we talked. Like the viewers think we only talk during the show, but we went in for lunch the other day, so I think we pretty much did all the catching up we needed to do.
We're kind of already sick of each other after talking just a few days ago, so the show should be like really belligerent. It should be awesome.
Yeah, I meet Lloyd for lunch in the afternoon. Like 2:30 or something. I'd only been awake for an hour at that point in the day. Lloyd's been up and running around and working and doing errands, and I just woke up. Let's go get a sandwich. That's me. That's my life.
You gotta love the sandwich.
Yeah.
Gotta love the sandwich. Anyway. It's been a while since the last show. Actually, it hasn't been a while. We recorded a show and recorded 2 special episodes. Haven't been able to get them posted on a server. For some reason, there's some people out there that like to hack my server and destroy things. And it looks like they did that again. So we are... I'm currently in the process of fixing things. Hopefully I'll have like a block of time tomorrow to finish it. But basically I'm building a clean server, copying over all my data, making sure that there's no backdoors, making sure that everything looks fine. Then I'm going to be deleting everything from our main server, pushing everything back to it. So the site will probably be down for an hour or so over the next few days, just to fix this crap that these really bored people have, and for some reason I don't understand why this keeps happening. So there must be a plugin that I'm using, with my blog software. So I've been trying to spend some time getting this fixed, but unfortunately it's been a incredibly busy time in the real life of Lloyd Hannison. So I haven't enough time to do this, and I had to take some time to play The Last of Us because that was kind of my stress relief. So things are happening. You guys are going to have a crap load of podcasts coming over the next week. So prepare for the torrential downpour of awesome into your ear holes, because there's going to be a lot of shows that are going to be coming out. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up as to where we've been. We didn't just like disappear over E3. We actually talked a lot over E3, but we had issues.
Yeah, we did. So Lloyd and I had planned to do one show a piece for Sony and Microsoft, and then you and your other I can't remember his name.
Steven,
I apologize.
He's
but
in the chat
Steven,
room.
there you go. They were going to do one for Nintendo. So Lloyd and I were like, we'll budget a half hour a time for each of them. I believe we ran over 2.5 hours when they were combined together.
Yeah, it was closer to 3 probably.
Yeah, I mean, it was like an hour and 15, hour and 20 for Sony, and then like an hour and a half, hour 40 for Microsoft. It was not as quick as we thought it was going to be. We ran through both showtime estimated amounts within the first show, and that's
Yeah, we're gonna do half-hour shows. It's gonna be really quick. No, there was
we're just not capable of it. Both of us like to talk the exact same amount. Neither of us want to give the other guy the last word, unless we're happen to be drinking water or something at the time.
I'm drinking beer right now, so you might be able to get some words in today.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Until you become belligerent, like you're
Screw you, Jeff. Screw you, Zach.
like
Drunk
you
guy.
know what to do.
Blah. That's my drunk guy. Is that a good imitation?
No, it's really bad.
That's a terrible one, eh?
It was really bad.
All right, well, let's stop whining about not getting the shows out, and let's get into the whining about games. Actually, we have no whining to do this week. It's actually a really positive week. So let's jump into it. Jeff, what you been playing? Keep in mind that 2 of the games you've been playing, we're also going to be doing our reviews on. So let's not spend too much time talking about that right now.
Yeah, and I won't. Only to say, if you're listening to this in your car right now, you're not listening to it live. Go buy these 2 games. Go buy Animal Crossing New Leaf. Go buy The Last of Us on the PS3. I've been playing them all week. Beat Last of Us last night. Absolutely loved it. So don't wait for the review later on in the show. Just go out and get these games now because they deserve to be played and experienced by you. So that's all I'll say until we get into the reviews. But the other thing that I've been playing this week, like the 3 things I've been playing, they couldn't be farther apart from each other. Animal Crossing New Leaf, The Last of Us. I mean, just 2 completely polar opposite games. Yeah. And then there's one that's kind of middle of the road. But I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 3 on the Xbox 360. This game sat on my shelf for quite a while because of Call of Duty, and that game's really easy to get into, and like I've said many times before, play for 20, 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, and just kind of play for short periods of time and get out. But this week, I've been doing, and last week as well too, I've been doing a lot of really big renders. So I've been sitting here in front of the computer, editing a bunch, and then when I would go to export and render the video, I'd have to sit here for roughly an hour, 40 minutes to an hour to render these videos because they got a lot of effects on them and a lot of different elements from other programs, 3D elements and stuff like that. So I've had a lot of time to kind of just sit here, and instead of going upstairs and watching TV or something, I like to sit right by the computer when I'm rendering so that when it's done, I can upload it right away to Dropbox and get it off to the client who wants it. So I turned on the Xbox and figure, I don't really want to sit here and play Call of Duty for an hour because I'm kind of burnt out on it. So I figure I'd pop in Battlefield and get my fix. And the way that Battlefield works, if you've never played it, is they're very big matches, and they go on for a long time. You're looking at 25 minutes sometimes for some of the middle-of-the-road ones, and now that people have their own special servers, you get matches that go 40 minutes sometimes. I mean, just absolute, these long, just war of attrition kind of matches, and I've been really digging it. I mean, it's a fantastic game when the network is working properly. It's really, really good. And I'm really into it these days, and I kind of want to buy the DLC, but Battlefield 4 is right around the corner. It's going to be out on October 28th, I believe, so I don't think buying the DLC now is a good choice. I'm still, very early on in Battlefield 3 as multiplayer, so I haven't really reached the level cap or anything, so there's not really any need for me to kind of add more variety to a game that I've kind of forgot about and I'm just rediscovering.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's just, game, just, run around, shoot guys in the face. And, I try to fly around in the jets, can't do it, can't shoot anybody down. I usually end up trying to kamikaze somebody or, fly over their base and hop out and, use my parachute, come in and try to take out people from behind. But yeah, it's a fantastic game. Loving it. Super excited for Battlefield 4. I can't wait for that game. But this game pales in comparison to the other 2 games I'm playing this week, and I can't wait to talk about those later on in the show.
It's going to be a good one. Definitely going to be good. Cool. Well, I'm kind of playing the same stuff. I'm playing a lot of Animal Crossing New Leaf. A lot, actually. It's a scary amount. I did the Nintendo Pulse last night with Stephen Munn, And he's like, "Oh, I played for 45 hours since it came out." And I'm like, "Ha, you fool! Who spends 45 hours playing a game like this? It's so good, but you're crazy." And then I went and I looked at my usage, and it was like 36 hours. It's like, oh, all right. And then I killed my 3DS today, so I probably played another 5 hours. Or yeah, 54 hours. Sorry, I was wrong. But yeah, it's crazy. Now he's up to 60 and I'm up to probably 40. This game is,
I think I'm probably
addictive.
close to 15, maybe 20
Yeah,
now that I've had it for about 2 weeks now.
You can go into your activity log, which is an app on your 3DS, and it tells you how long you played every single game. And yeah, it's
I'll have to figure that out.
It's all encompassing. It's my addiction right now.
Carly's playing in my town too, though, so her time would be added to that as well, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a man. It's so. Yeah, again, we'll talk about when we get to the review. I was about to start. Screw it. We'll just talk about it when we get to the review.
Don't do it. Besides that, picked up The Last of Us on release day. Didn't get to play it for a few days because of UFC weekend here. We had the pay-per-view in Winnipeg, which was cool. Spent a lot of time doing that stuff, and picked it up on Sunday, Father's Day, and played a whole lot of it over the next few days, and finish it off on like Tuesday of this week. And it's just like,
what an interesting game to pick up on Father's Day.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of thematically correct, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
especially the way it starts too. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a great game, but we'll get to that. And this week I picked up Remember Me, courtesy of PNP Games, for the PlayStation 3. And not that the game is bad. It's just that it's like you have a steak dinner, and then you follow it up with a Big Mac. And on separate days, like, a Big Mac has its place. I don't eat a lot of fast food, but every once in a while it's like, hey, yeah, Big Mac, I could go for that. Or like a Subway sub or some other sort of fast food. I mean, that's good. Mm-hmm. But if you have like a crazy steak with all the fixings, you can't follow it up with like filler and expect to be satisfied. And that's kind of my thought with Remember Me. It's been a good game, but I basically played the best game I've ever experienced, and then jumped into another game that is supposed to be narratively driven, and it doesn't even. It's not even on the same level. It's like it's an indie title in comparison. So,
yeah, you do come off, kind of a high benchmark for gaming, and then you go into a game that's, maybe at best painfully average. I think you put it really, really well. When the text message you sent me was like, "Remember meh," like there's nothing really bad to say about it, but there's nothing great to write home about either.
Yeah, it's like it's a game where you're playing you're a memory hunter. You're in a future dystopian world of you're actually in Neo Paris in like 2097 or something. And the world's gotten to a place where they've commoditized memories, and no one has bad memories anymore because they erase the bad memories and they replace it with good memories of them like climbing Mount Everest or kissing their girlfriend for the first time, and other like awesome memories that someone would have, but they're grabbing these memories from other people and they get modified to have them in it, and then it gets injected in their brain. So the rich people have all the best memories, and then the poor people have these like designer knockoff memories that kind of end up screwing up their brain. And you play this person that goes or in your past life you went and gathered these memories to then sell to the highest bidder, kind of like a bounty hunter type thing. But then your brain gets erased and all this stuff, and it's like, I love that fiction. Anything to do with like brain, copying memories, modifying brain. I love that. I love all the science fiction that deals with that. So this is like right up my alley. But going from The Last of Us, which is it's not an open world, but a lot of the sections are huge where you can explore at your own will, kind of look around, do stuff that you want, to basically having like Doom 3's corridors, but set in a beautiful world. Like you're like, it's a huge world, but you can't explore because there's a little tiny cardboard box that for some reason you can't jump over because I guess you'd have a fear of cardboard boxes, maybe. I don't know.
The invisible walls.
Yeah, it's just
Did you remember that movie that you were talking about when we were at lunch there the other day?
No.
That you liked it. That's kind of
no. I
same
didn't
as
even
this game.
I didn't even look for it. I mean, I have it on DVD, and I can remember the cover, but I can't place the name. I'm gonna flip through all my DVDs and find it.
Because I'd be interested to kind of watch that movie. It sounds because the game does have a very interesting idea, right? But I think it's just you're right. You come off such a great game,
Yep.
and you play one that is just okay, and it's unfortunate that it has to happen like that, because maybe, if you had played Remember Me in, let's say, mid-July, when you hadn't played anything new and exciting for 6 weeks, it might have been something very, very good. You'd have been like, I look at it with a different, lens. But
yeah. It's got these weird mechanics. Like, it almost has like an action RPG battle system where by playing the game you unlock these powers, which are button presses, and then you can put the button presses into the different combos that you have access to. And each of the button presses you unlock, one will do damage, one will steal life, and the other one will reduce your timers, basically. And so you have to figure out how to properly structure your combos, and it's like this really cool system, but it's like I can't get behind that.
Mm-hmm.
I just had like one of the best experiences in my gaming career, and then to jump right into this one, it's just not doing it for me. So I've not touched it for the last like 2-3 days, I guess. Because when did I pick it up? I picked it up on Wednesday, I guess. So I haven't picked it up since Wednesday. And I probably won't play it maybe until Sunday or Monday, and I give it a chance to kind of sit there and some I don't know, rest and relaxation in the meantime, and then maybe I'll jump back into it and see if I have a better experience with it. But
yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting game, but I can see where people were having some issues with it, that it is like too linear. It's like you might as well be playing an on the rail shooter for as much freedom as you have to explore, which kind of sucks. Kind of sucks. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of stuff on my iPad and stuff like that, but I covered a lot of that stuff on the Touch Gaming podcast this week. So if you want to hear that, you can go check it out then. Or
cross promotion.
Yes, sir. I'm all about the cross promotion. All right, so I guess that's it for what we've been playing. Let's jump into new releases. Jeff, what's some good stuff that has come up?
Yeah, so the new releases I have in the show notes right now are from last week. So The Last of Us, there was Tekken Revolution on the PS3, and then a game called Planetary Annihilation on the PC. I just pulled up a new list for the games that are coming out this week. So we have a game called Neverwinter. It's a massively multiplayer game on the PC. I think the most notable release of this week is new Super Luigi U on the Wii U. That's coming out, or came out yesterday, I believe, the 20th. This is the 21st, right?
Yes.
So yeah, yesterday. That's a weird day for a game to come out. They usually come out on Sundays for Nintendo, don't they?
Yeah, it was really weird. I was doing the show, Nintendo Pulse, and I got an email from Nintendo, and it's like, oh, okay, new Super Luigi U is out. A really odd day for a game release.
Yeah. There's a new. I think this is a DLC pack. It's a double pack of DLC for Dungeons and Dragons. It's called Chronicles of Mystera, available for PC, PS3, and Xbox 360.
I think it's actually the old Dungeons and Dragons arcade games all bundled together.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So
That's
all
cool.
the old arcade ones. I think there's 2 games or 3 games in that package. One that I want to pick up, but I haven't had a chance to.
That's cool. A lot of PC games that come out. Knights of Pen and Paper. What else here? Rook's Keep. I mean, some very strange games that there's so many weird games that just kind of come out and you'll never hear about them. The Jak and Daxter collection is now available on the PS Vita, so that's kind of cool if you're into those games. They're pretty solid for the most part. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I mean, a lot of PC games that quite frankly, we would never play. Trackmania 2 Stadium. I mean, I know of the series, but it's a PC only game. It's a racing game, something I will never have the opportunity to play.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of when you have a game like The Last of Us that came out a week ago, it's a poor business decision to release your game the following week, I think. The following 2 weeks, really.
Yeah.
Because if somebody's got $60 in their pocket and they own a PlayStation 3 and haven't picked this one up, that's probably the one they're going to go to, regardless of of the perfect scores, a lot of their friends are probably playing it and they're saying, get this game. I won't lend it to you because I'm playing it right now. I'm going to play it again, So it's just a bad, it's like, I feel like, Battlefield would do a lot better if they didn't try to compete directly with Call of Duty and having their game come out a week before, bring out Battlefield 4 in March,
Yeah.
Like the guys at Respawn are doing Titanfall. They're bringing that out in spring, which is right around the time that the new Call of Duty game comes out of the honeymoon phase and people start hating on it and calling it a shitty game and just, they get burnt out. That's a great time to bring out a new game and take their attention away from it. But you bring out a game right next to a massive release that's always going to be a massive release like that, and it's not good practice, unless you really have a good, solid fan base that can take you and and really attack that other game. And nothing really has that for Call of Duty. But The Last of Us coming out last week, I mean, there were reviews up 2 weeks before the game came out saying, stop reading now and pre-order the game. Like, leave your house and go and buy it now if you can. If you can get some guy in an alley to sell it to you, and you have to do some horrible act,
Yikes.
Go ahead and do it because you're going to be
Yikes.
doing more horrible acts in the game, It's a weird decision.
Oh, wow. The owners and operators of the VG Podcast Network do not condone back alley acts to gain early access to video games.
No.
But yeah, no, I
Do what you gotta do.
I know exactly what you're saying. Like you don't release stuff around the big titles, so it's been kind of dry. Like New Super Luigi U is probably the biggest one, and that is just a DLC add-on pack to New Super Mario Brothers U. So it's not a full release or anything like that. And
Oh,
I
it's not? Okay.
No, the full disc release comes later. But yeah, and there's
How
also
much was it? Is it like $29 or
it's
something?
$20 for the DLC package, and the full disc will be $29.
Oh wow! You
Yeah.
pay an extra $9 for a disc.
Yeah, it's probably going to be very limited, so I'm probably going to buy one and not open it just to keep it in my collection. But yeah, that's kind of that. There's
Say
also
what you will about the Wii U, but they've done a really good job of incentivizing download purchases. The discount is actually pretty substantial.
Sure, the discount and the extra stars or the extra points you get, coins for Club Nintendo. Then you get a bunch of other free stuff. It's pretty cool.
It's hard to ignore. I don't think Microsoft would have done that with the Xbox One. They would have been the same price. Disc maybe $3 less or some shit like that. Can't wait to talk about that later.
Awesome. Well, that's going to do it for new releases. You had a talking point. You wanted to query the audience. So how about I give you the soapbox for a bit, Jeff?
Yeah.
Because you say I never let you talk enough.
Well,
And
I'm
I'm just going to keep interrupting you like this because that's part of the joke, and that's why it's funny.
Yeah, it is funny. So what I wanted to do, and like kind of just a small segment of the show, is ask the listeners. If you're listening in the chat room right now, let us know. But more importantly, if you're listening, just driving around in your car or on your computer or whatever at work, I want you to email into the show. Let us know what you think about stuff. And I have a question for everyone. So after the cooldown from E3 and the massive announcement from Sony, do you think it's going to be a slam dunk for the PS4? Now, this, of course, doesn't take into account the new message from Microsoft just a few days ago. But I still think that this question is valid because there's still some hesitation with how Microsoft is kind of treating the gamers of this console generation, how they're trying to switch things around. So I'm wondering, do you think that Sony is going to have a much easier time and that it's still a Sony slam dunk kind of thing? Or do you think things are going to get better for Microsoft? If so, how better are they going to get? Are they going to be able to even it out? I mean, as we've seen from the pre-order story over the last day, Microsoft has now pulled ahead in pre-orders on the Xbox One. So that's pretty interesting. But I don't know if that can keep building momentum. I think Sony has so much going for it right now that almost anything they do will just increase momentum for that console. And Microsoft is kind of trying to just stay even at this point.
Yeah,
So again, let us know what you think.
What you're probably
pgpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, exactly. What you're probably seeing is there was a huge influx of people pre-ordering the PlayStation 4 initially after E3, and then not no one, but fewer people were pre-ordering the Xbox One. And now that all that stuff happened that we're going to talk about later in the show, now you're getting the people that were kind of waiting to play the wait and see that are finally going in. So I'd be curious to see what the total number of pre-orders are on like an Amazon or something. That data will obviously never get out, but and I think it was Sinister in the chat room who shared the story, but the the article title is a little misleading. It says Xbox One pre-orders jumps past PlayStation 4. And I don't know what jumps mean. Are they getting one, or are they doing 2 pre-orders per one console for Sony? There's no real like hard data. So jumps past is this very relative thing that doesn't really mean anything. So I mean, quite frankly, I think that they're both probably pretty even. And even when Sony was ahead, it probably wasn't that much ahead because the hardcore Xbox fan base is going to be there in droves anyway, and that's a pretty large market. Yeah, from what I've been hearing is like some data points are saying that PlayStation 3 was getting ordered 3-1, pre-ordered 3-1 over top of Xbox One, which is what caused Microsoft to kind of flip their lid a little bit and go a little crazy.
3-1 is pretty big.
Yeah, but like I said, those numbers will never get out, and they're not really accurate because they're maybe one city, some numbers leaked out. But you're not going to have every single pre-order across the country from every mom and pop or big like box store type thing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you'd need to have a very large sample size of that community to really know for sure. And I don't even know if you could get that information accurately, like you just said. But anyway, I think it's still interesting. So let us know what you think. And send us an email because we definitely like to hear from you guys. A lot of talk going on in the chat room now, which is good to see. Oh man, E3 this year, man! What a crazy friggin' 4 days. You know what? After the Sony press conference, I really didn't pay attention to all that much. Because it's like I paid attention to a couple of trailers and a couple of interviews with some guys I'm really interested in. I like, although I don't own a PC capable enough of playing a game like The Witcher, I'm very interested in that game and the development team. I think a very talented group of people.
Yeah.
Looking at the new shooters, and I'm looking at just kind of the new indie games that I think are going to be cool and pushing the bar. But my attention kind of fleets after the 3 press conferences. I feel like those are where you're going to get the big announcements, and I'm like, I don't know if I care. I mean, there's so much to look at. Did you watch all week? I mean, I know you took the week off, and most of it's for E3 attention.
Yeah, no, I played a lot of games during the time that I wasn't watching. I did kind of like the Tuesday, Wednesday thing, and that's right? No, Microsoft was on Monday, or was it on Tuesday?
Monday.
So I did the
Monday morning.
I did the Monday, Tuesday thing, and then kind of watched stuff on Wednesday a little bit, and then kind of just let it die. Because, I was getting a little bit of overload there.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to go. Like, it would be cool if the bonus stage could go and be, like, journalistic representation there. Mm-hmm. But I think after, like, day 2, I'd be like, I want to get the hell out of here right now. Because I'd be surrounded by people I couldn't stand, I'm sure.
Well, and the thing, when you go to E3, you're basically making meetings with, like, developers or publishers or specific game title like PR people, and you're basically sitting there for an hour watching a demo or listening to them talk or whatever. It's not like you go and you walk the show floor. I mean, I guess you could, but most game journalists, they have all these meetings. That's where you get all your information from. So it's probably more boring for some reasons and less boring for some reasons because you're doing that. So yeah,
we should go to PAX. That's where we should go.
Yeah, I've tried. I was almost at E3 one year and fell through, and I've wanted to go back, but it's hard to justify when you have 2 kids, and this isn't a paying job. This is just a good hobby for the fun of it, to justify spending multiple thousands of dollars to take a trip down.
Not a cheap trip. Yeah, not a cheap trip.
No, not very wife approved, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a wife, so that's good.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right. Well, I think that's it, man. What do you what do you say we get into our reviews? You want to take a small music break and then get into our reviews?
Up to you. I mean, we still have a ton of show to go. If you want to just dive right into it, I'm good to dive right into it.
Yeah, let's take a small break, and we'll be back in a couple minutes, and then we'll jump right into our 2 reviews that we're going to be doing, and then we'll get into the news. So yeah, we have a lot of show left. So let's take a small break, and then we'll get right into it. Let's do a random chip tune. I haven't done that for a while because we haven't done a show for a while, so this should be interesting. Let's see how this goes.
You know, there's something strange.
Yeah, I already know what that one is. All right, well,
Another winner.
yeah, that was interesting. That was Gravitate by Oxygen Star. Yeah, that was
I hope it's not their best work.
that was an interesting track.
Yeah.
That's a Canadian way of saying it. It
Yeah,
was horrible.
you're talking like they're listening to the show or something. Quite frankly, I think that song sucked. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, if you're an artist and you get out and you put your stuff out there, I got to give them some respect for that.
Yes, I do as well.
I don't have to like it, but I
Yeah.
have to give them at least a little bit of respect.
Yeah, I know what it's like to put work out because I do it all the time. I have to put out videos and stuff like that. And it freaks me out every time. That said, when your work sucks, it just sucks. So I've had people tell me mine sucks, and that's fine with me.
All right.
So there's the rules of life, man. It's got to be brutal.
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, let's jump right into our reviews. So first off, let's talk about Animal Crossing New Leaf. So this one came out right before E3.
Mm-hmm. By the way, this is the PNP sponsored review of Animal Crossing 3: A New Leaf. They were
Kind of.
good enough to give me a cut, and then I bought it. So.
So it's not really sponsored if you bought the game, but yes.
Yeah, it's like a rental edition, you know. I knew I got it right. You Lord came over to my house and gave it to me. He's like, "Here you go." I was like, "Sweet." Popped it in. I was
No.
2 hours in.
No. I said, "Are you sure? Because you're gonna want to own this." And you're like, "Nah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I played it a while ago. I just want to see what all the fuss is about." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Dude, you're gonna want to own it, and you're gonna want to own it digitally. You're gonna want to have it on your 3DS at all times." You're like, "No, that's I want to trade it in, and it's not gonna work." And I'm like, "Okay, all right, I'll bite my tongue, and that's the last I'm gonna say about it." And then sure enough,
Yeah, but 2 hours into the game, I was like, I was pissed off. I was pissed off with myself because there's no way I should like this game. I mean, it's so stupid. And Lloyd and I were at lunch the other day, and I was telling him, this is a game that, like, let's say you came to me and I was a video game producer, right? And you're like, "Jeff, we've got this game idea. Here it is on paper. Here's what we got. You know, show me a couple of drawing samples or something like that, something to show me." I would be like, "Get this off my table. This is junk. No one's going to play this. No one's going to like it. You know, real time, this is stupid. You know, I mean, I got to play at 9 o'clock to play at 9 o'clock. That's dumb." I don't know why I don't know why this game works. I really don't, you know, but it does, and it works so well, and I hate myself for it. Being the guy on the show that's into baseball and is into Call of Duty, this is the last game I should be playing.
Yeah, it's a bit of an oddball. When it was first described, when I first played it on the GameCube, I was like, what? So I have to do chores to like progress in this game? Like I don't want to do that. I'm living in my own apartment. I have to do enough cleaning. I don't want to do this stuff. And then I played it and I was totally addicted to it. I think that what Animal Crossing does really good, for people that aren't familiar with it, which I find kind of surprising that there would actually be anybody that isn't familiar with it, but for those people that maybe exist out there, Animal Crossing is a Nintendo title where you basically become a citizen in a virtual city. Everything happens in the world at real time. So if it's 8 a.m. in your city, it's 8 o'clock in the virtual city, whatever you name it. So stores have set hours. So a store might only open at 10 a.m. and then close at 8 p.m. So if you want to use that store, you have to be there sometime between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. And that's pretty much what it is. And then you're just doing things that you would do in a normal little village. You're fishing and catching bugs and selling things. Every morning you can find buried items. There's like dinosaur bones and other strange things. And you can plant flowers and plant trees and eat fruit. And it's just like, how is this a game?
But it's so bizarre.
Yeah, but then you jump into it and it's just like, this game tweaks all the right nerves about like OCD collection stuff, making little virtual friends or virtual enemies, like getting really mad at one of your little virtual villagers and hitting them in the head a bunch of times with a bug net so that they one day will choose to move away.
I got a great story about that, by the way.
Cool.
That we'll talk about later. But
yes. Yeah. So it's just this weird little, it's like The Sims, except it's even more simmy because it happens in real time, not this crazy kind of sped up version of real life that The Sims was.
But it's also less simmy in the way that, like, you don't have to have a job, you don't have to eat or take a shower. You could effectively be a recluse and only really damage the people around you. Like, playing this game, first of all, I think one of the reasons I like it so much is it's so damn chill. I mean, the music is fantastic. Playing this game at night when that music song comes on, when you're outside walking around, I mean, you just totally relax. It's a very relaxing game to play because there's no pressure to do anything, just go and do whatever the hell you want and buy a shirt and, you have a mortgage of $100,000? That's okay. I'll just
sell 35 fish and I'll make $100,000 to pay off my mortgage.
It's so bizarre. But I think, I wouldn't say that this game is for everybody because there's going to be a lot of people who are going to hate a game like this. But if you get into it, I think one of the reasons why it's so much fun to play, Animal Crossing does something that I think very few games do. And of those games that do it, very few of them do it very well. And that's giving you a reason to play it every day. And it's not a game that you go in and you're going to play 6 hours a day. I mean, you could, but you're going to run out of things to do. But it gives you a reason to say, like, okay, 2 hours a day, 90 minutes, maybe 3 hours or something like that. I can go into this game and there's going to be enough for me to do that's going to chill me out, and I'm going to relax and I'm going to have a good time, and then I'm going to go and play something else, maybe something a little bit more serious in tone or something, right? This game gives you something to do every day. There's always new items to buy in the store. There's always things buried in the ground. Your trees might be dying. Your plants might be dying, so you need to water them or you need to pull up the weeds. You can go fishing, go to the island. I mean, and I think one of the things that this game does so great amongst all the other ones is it puts you in charge of the town in kind of a weird, childlike happenstance. You become the mayor of whatever town you move into, and even before that, giving you the option to choose the layout of your town is a big selling point to a game like this, because in previous iterations, everybody's town was the same, effectively. And, it's, to go back and play every, 2 hours a day. Now Carly's playing the game as well too. I'll talk a little bit about that later, but now we're, we're fighting to play it. You know, she's playing. And I'm like, man, it's almost 10 o'clock. Like the stores are closed. Let me sell my shit. And I'm getting mad at her for digging up fossils in my town because I want that money. And it's such a bizarre game, but it's so relaxing. You know, it's like it's the hot tub of video games. You know, you just sit there and you just enjoy the time. And then after 90 minutes, you need to get the hell out. Otherwise, you're going to get sick of it. You know.
Yeah, no, it's good. And one thing, don't sell your. I told you, don't sell your fossils, man. Donate them. It's a better way to do it.
Yeah, well, now I will because obviously I didn't realize the island was such a great way to just rake in the cash.
It is,
but you have
so
to hear
good.
that guy sing every time.
No,
That's
you basically slam on all the buttons, and eventually he'll just say, "Oh, you're in a rush. Okay, I'll take you there right away."
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
You just
See,
hit
that's also really nice.
You hit all the face buttons a bunch of times, and he'll eventually stop singing.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, that's another little touch in there, right? That the songs he sings about is funny. One time he literally farted and interrupted his own song and then made a joke about the poop deck of the ship you're on. And I was like, oh my God, what kind of game is this?
The localization that they do with these games is amazing. And just the little touches, like it's so Nintendo. Like I was talking with Stephen Munn the other day, yesterday when we did the show, and he's like, yeah, you know how there's a train that drives by? And I was like, oh yeah, there's a train every once in a while. It annoys me because I can't get into the main street city. And he's like, yeah, whenever the train goes by, that's the game telling you that someone on your friends list has opened his town gates so you can go visit them. And I'm just like, holy crap, that is such a Nintendo way of doing stuff. Like something that happens triggers this little animation. They don't tell you what this is, but you can eventually work out by putting two and two together what exactly like that little thing is. Like what triggered that thing. Like it's just it's crazy. And
is it right to say that Nintendo is the Apple of video games?
Oh yeah, they totally are. Like they're a company that doesn't put out crap. Like they wait and wait and wait until they
they do, but very rarely.
No, they don't put out crap knowingly. Like they put out stuff that they are totally convinced that this is the best it could possibly ever be. Whether it's a good game in your in your estimation or whatever, that's beyond the point because that's subjective. But they don't just come up with an idea, basically burn through a development cycle, get it up in 6 months, and release it. They'll hold on to a game for 2 years before releasing it until they feel that it is the perfect thing that they could possibly.
No half-baked games with Nintendo. They are fully cooked ideas. You know, even something as stupid as that Wii Music game, right? I mean, that was something that on the surface looked stupid, but you could tell there were smart people working on that game for a long time. And I think that is a testament to what Nintendo is as a whole. So yeah, I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, like, so in the game, you're the mayor of your virtual city, and you basically have daily tasks, like Jeff was saying. There's flowers to water every day unless you want them to die, and if they die, that's fine. But if you don't want your flowers to die, you water them every day so they're sparkly. And there's weeds that crop up every day, and you pick the weeds and you shake the trees to get items from the trees or get the fruit off them. Like, it's just all these menial tasks, but for some reason they're fun, which I don't quite understand. And I was also like, when I did Nintendo Pulse, I was talking with Steven, and I was like, I've played this game before. I played the GameCube version. I played the DS version. I played the Wii version. And I didn't really like the Wii version. I thought maybe it was me growing kind of tired of the game. No, it's not. It's just that game was bad, because this one is the same as every other Animal Crossing, but it is so much different in so many different ways. It's like the most iterated, polished version of the Animal Crossing experience that I think one can have.
I would completely agree with you. The only one I ever played was the GameCube version, and I really liked it, but I gamed the system, going back and resetting the internal clock and effectively doing almost everything you could do within about 2 months of time, which totally ruined the game for me, and that was my stupid fault. But yeah, this is absolutely anything that you could kind of find as a gripe with the Animal Crossing series is remedied in this one. There are still some things that I don't like, but what a polished game,
Yeah, there's really weird things like your flowers can die even if it's raining. Like I had just like 4 days of rain. and flowers died. It's like, okay, but if I would have went with my magic watering can, they wouldn't have died. So that's a little odd. Little tiny like little issues like that are kind of bizarre. But yeah, it's kind of like this perfect little experience if you like the game. So for me, I wake up in the morning, I jump in, I see, I go run around, grab all the fossils that have spawned overnight, put the game to sleep, and then basically on my lunch hour, eat my lunch. I have like 10-15 minutes left, so I quickly jump into the game. I run to the retail, which is kind of like a pawn shop. I buy any item that's in retail. I sell the fossils that I wasn't able to donate to the museum. I then run to the actual trading post type shop. It's upgraded on my system because I've done enough business with them. So now it's the TNT shop or whatever, and I go in there and I buy any item that I don't already own that I haven't bought before, and then sell them back to them because I just want them in my catalog. So if I ever want to decorate my house a certain way, I can have access to all these items in the catalog and reorder them, and buy all the stuff. I go to the flower shop, buy all the stuff. I go to the clothing store, I buy things that are cool. I sell all that stuff because I don't have enough space to store it, but I just want it in my catalog. And then I put it to sleep. And then I get home after work, and then I go fishing and bug catching, and I make all the bells to pay off all of the mortgages that I have or all the special projects that I have. And it's just like, this seems like work, but it is so much fun and crazy relaxing. And it's just such a charming game. It's nothing else I could say about it better sums it up than it is a charming title.
Yeah, I mean, what a great way to describe it. Really, there are a few things that I don't like about it. Carly wanted to play it as well too, so I was like, yeah, you can start up a new file. You can't have two different towns on the same cartridge, so that sucks. So she has to be a member of my town, which means that we're effectively competing for the same items, which isn't really a problem unless they're things that are only spawned once a day, like fossils, for instance. Fruit as well too, but that becomes kind of abundant after a few weeks of playing, and you plant more fruit in your town. I mean, I have more than I know what to do with at this point, so now I'm just trying to get in the rare fruit. The island is a lot of fun, and I didn't realize that you could cancel the guy singing, so that really does help me out there a lot. So most of the problems I have with the island are now not problems anymore at all. I like going there to just catch bugs and just, completely rake it in. The wetsuit that's a lot of fun, and I can't explain why. It's so stupid. Well, now you get to go and swim out in the water and catch, whatever's down there. And I'm like, well, that's going to be stupid. No, it's actually really fun. And it's such a great little addition to the game. Is there any way you can take that wetsuit back to the town?
No, you can eventually buy a wetsuit.
Okay, so that's cool.
I have 3 of them.
Of course you do.
Well,
the game's only been out for 21 days.
Well, I bought one, and then today 2 more appeared in the shop in the island, and I know a friend of mine wanted one, so I bought one that I didn't already own just so I had it, and then I bought a second copy of the other one. But they are medals, so you have to play the mini games on the island to get medals to then buy these items, and they're 40 medals each, which costs takes a lot of playthroughs of this mini game. So I paid all these.
The mini games are actually fun too. The matching game I don't like, but going and you have to find the exact skeleton to put into their museum. That's fun. The bug catching thing is fun. Fishing on the island is fun as well too. I wish there was a way. I think my biggest problem is the fact that your inventory, from what I've seen anyway, can't get any bigger than what you start out with. And not that that's a really big issue, but when you're trying to make a lot of money, I'm also a little bit lazy and running back and forth to that stupid bin, and I can't put that much in the bin to begin with. There's only four areas to put stuff in.
Yep.
So that's a little bit, but I think they're limiting you so that you don't totally blow the game.
That's
right
exactly why they do it. That's why everything is timed. Why they try to chastise you to not to time warp by changing your system clock, because it is a game that you could if you play it for 12 hours straight, you're gonna not enjoy the game anymore, because the whole joy of the game comes from short doses, playing an hour or two a day or 15 minutes a day. I was telling you at lunch, I believe it was you anyway, there was a guy online that was posting a blog every week of his Animal Crossing experience with the Wii version, and he posted it every week because he played it every day to talk to his villagers, sent them letters, cleaned stuff up, planted stuff, built buildings, did all this stuff. And it's just like, wow, this is a game that you can have fun with for years. You could spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours playing this game if that's what you want.
Steven in the chat room is saying that a character, Pippi, is actually lecturing him on playing the game too much. So there's an in-game character telling him he's playing the game too much. I like that Nintendo was so smart that they are so plugged into their own game that they know that, listen, this isn't a game that you're going to just play and be done with in a month. This is a game that we're going to kind of guide you on how to play it, which is okay, but they do it subtly. You know, a character in the game will come up and tell you, hey, you're really giving, you know, you're really playing this game too much. You know, you should play it less because it's a better experience. But they don't do it. They don't like lock you out of it, right? They just don't give you all that much to do unless you're okay with running around and repositioning furniture for 8 hours a day, which is totally fine, right?
Yep.
That's really smart. I don't know any other game that does that. You know, that everybody wants to finish games so quickly, right? Like I felt a little bit of pressure to finish The Last of Us for this week, and I finished it last night for about a 5-hour stretch of playing, and I felt really burnt out at the end for more than one reason, obviously. But I felt like, you know, maybe I shouldn't be playing it this fast, and Animal Crossing is a game that tells you, you know, don't play it that fast. And I think that's really smart. You know, it's such a good game, and I wish I knew why, you know, concretely why, you know, like, is this, because there's no OCD thing there for me. It's just super chill and very charming, like you said, and just, you know, relaxes the hell out of me. You know, it's the complete opposite of every other game I've ever played. And maybe that's the kind of thing we need now, is, you know, like, this is a game that's so different than anything else out there.
Yeah. It's a palate cleanser. It's a really good palate cleanser. Yeah.
And, you know, and it still has enough money behind it to make it an enjoyable experience. The other day, I was walking around and I love I think was it in the Wii version that they had the world curve? I think that's when they brought that in.
I don't remember.
Because they always, I think in the GameCube version it was flat.
Yeah, it was totally flat.
Yeah. So, and then I think at some point they brought it in so that the world kind of curves. So as you're walking, it kind of curves away from you. And it's with the 3D on, by the way, a very, very nice effect.
Yeah.
Really, really lovely to look at. The water in the game, when you kind of catch it out of the corner of your eye, looks like really stunning. Like,
especially during like golden hour. It looks awesome.
I mean, it looks like something Naughty Dog would have put in their game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's
go buy it, guys. Go buy it.
It is a great game. I guess that's enough talking about it. If you want to hear more, Steve and I talked at length about it on the Nintendo Pulse podcast. It is an awesome title. It is something that I'm glad I downloaded digitally. It's $35 on the eShop or as a disc or a cartridge rather. It is not a game that you will probably find used, because people that buy this game tend to hang on to it forever, because it's one of those really fun titles that they go back to time and time and time again. Definitely worth a purchase if you have a 3DS. It is the best version of Animal Crossing. It's more of the same, but so much different and so much more. I love this game. It's something I'm going to be playing for a long time, I'm sure. If only to collect all the special Nintendo items from eating fortune cookies and giving the people at TNT Mart my little fortunes to give me all the Nintendo items. Like, it's just there's so much fan service in this game and just fun. You can decorate your house however you want. At one point, you open this thing called like the dream. What is it? The Dream Mansion or whatever, where you go and you can visit people's villages without them being online. And I found a website that ranks these villages. And I basically went to a village that was in Japan. They've had the game for a lot longer than we did. And it was immaculate. Like, everything was in a place for a reason. And it's just like, holy crap, there's people that are spending hundreds of hours just planting things and creating textures with the in-game editor, like the in-game Dream Suite. Thanks, Sinister. The in-game shirt texture editor. But then they make these little plates and drop them on the ground, so it looks like there's like pavement all over the place, and they make these like really complex shapes and designs and put them on the ground and stuff, and it's just like, holy crap, there's some people that really spend some time. But this game gives you that creativity if that's what you want to do. If you want to if you want to go and play as much as you want and beat it, quote unquote beat it, do all that you can, build your house up as much as you can as fast as possible, you can do that. You probably won't have as much fun as someone that plays it for 2 years, but you're going to have your fun. And I think that's what Nintendo's really getting to. They want you to have fun with this title, however you determine fun for yourself.
Yeah, I remember when I first started the game, and you're introduced as the mayor, and things are going well. You plant the tree, and then you're talking with Isabelle, and she's the assistant to the mayor, and she lives, I guess, where she works. It's weird that she doesn't have a house, but that's okay, whatever. But the partition is closed, so you can't walk back there. And I know that as the mayor, that's probably my desk. I'm like, oh, that sucks that I can't go back there. And then the next day, she's like, oh, well, you're the mayor, so you can do things that affect the town. And then it opens up, and I can go back there. And I'm like, maybe I should stop judging this game, but day to day, because clearly the next day they're going to do something that I'm expecting them to do, or that I'm not expecting, and it's going to be, this fantastic revelation. And that little part right there opens up the game so much more with ordnance and, public works projects, and the fact that new buildings, the garden center just opened up in my town. I don't care about gardening, so that's not really a big deal, but it's still cool to see new shops and stuff come in. Damn, I heard somewhere, and don't quote me on this because I can't really remember exactly, but I think it was the GameCube version. They were going to stop hosting, or they were going to stop doing the auto update 24 thing sometime in 2020 or something like that. So the game is just going to live for forever, and that's really impressive as well too. It's crazy. It's going to be fun to see how this game evolves, and now that it's on an online device, DLC is going to be a prevalent thing. Maybe they'll charge us for packs of big content and stuff, and that might be okay. Whatever. If it opens up to the town to be bigger, that'd be cool.
Sure. Yeah. They haven't announced anything that they're going to be charging for. There's DLC in this game, but it's all free DLC, and it's all cool. It's items and stuff that Nintendo can send you, and things like that. So yeah, maybe the next iteration of this is going to be a free to play world, like a Simpsons Tapped Out or a Farmville, but you're buying stuff for the game as well. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. All right, well, that's enough Animal Crossing. We hated it, if you couldn't tell. It was the worst game ever. No, it is.
PNP can't keep it in their store. They announce, hey, we got it back in,
yeah,
and then it's gone the next day. Which crazy.
Makes me so crazy and head scratchy, because it's a game that you want on your 3DS. Just buy it digitally, and then it doesn't matter what you're doing. You just hit a button, and boom, you're in Animal Crossing, and you're playing it while on the go.
I don't really have that big of a problem, putting in a cartridge. It's the only other game that I own for the 3DS at this point, so it's really not that big of a deal
for you. But there's a lot of people that always have newer games buy newer games all the time, and they might hear that, oh, this new item's available only for today if you go and ask for a present from the mail shop person, and if you're away from home and you don't have the cartridge,
that's true. Yeah, it's a game that you should be traveling around with if you travel around with your 3DS.
Yeah.
And in that case, I would suggest that unless you're like me and you like physical media and you like the box and the game and stuff like that, absolutely get this game on download. How much space does it take up on the memory card, Lloyd?
I don't know, 4,000 blocks.
So what is that? Is that 4 gigabytes?
No, it's not. It's weird Nintendo math.
Yeah. 4,000 blocks. 4,000 Mario coins as he goes by and hits his head on it. That's weird. But yeah, totally get it, guys. Get it. And now we're going to talk about a game that is the polar opposite of Animal Crossing New Leaf.
All right. So I
want a hybrid game of these two. That would be fun.
Oh, God. I couldn't handle it. All right. Well, let's get into our second review. This is for a game called The Last of Us, a little known game, kind of an independent title. No, it's not. It's Last of Us came out on PlayStation 3. It's a PlayStation exclusive, and it's by Naughty Dog, who made the Uncharted series and makes really good games. So this one, The Last of Us, is about a post-apocalyptic world. This is a world where this fungus has taken over, and it basically turns people into what is essentially zombies. And it's a story about survival, where you are a survivor and you're trying to survive in this world that has been ravaged by basically everything shutting down, and all the power and all the utilities kind of shutting down because people are basically getting their face chewed off by these zombie creatures. And that's The Last of Us. So there's no running around with a shovel, planting trees, and watching happy little butterflies fly by.
Well, actually, there are a few sections where you and Ellie look at the wildlife, and she goes, "Oh, hey," she's talking with a bunny rabbit at one point. So there are
no spoilers.
a little bit
No spoilers.
of that, yeah.
No spoilers.
Okay, so this is something that we should say right off the top here is that listen, just go out and buy this game if you own a PS3. There's no excuse for you to oh, I want to wait to see what Lloyd and Jeff. We love it. Go buy it. Okay. What we're going to talk about today, it's going to be no spoilers at all. And that means that there's very little of the game specifics that we can talk about, because I feel, and I think Lloyd probably feels the same way, that getting into minute details are, even if they're not congruent to the story, will ruin some of the experience. I think that this game is the best it's going to be the first time you play it through. I don't know if, Lloyd, you feel that way as well too. Mm-hmm. But going through it that first time where you're everything is new, everything is different, this is, a brand new experience, that's where it's going to be the best. And to do that, we really can't talk about, okay, well, at this part, I didn't like when this guy said this or when that guy did that. Know that we love this game and that we all want you to buy it because it deserves your attention. So we're going to do kind of a weird Reader's Digest version of a review. We'll talk about the gameplay mechanics and things like that. But when it comes to the story, I loved it. And I loved the way it brought me through it. I loved the characters. The voice acting might be some of the best ever. I think this is going to be on a short list of the best games of this decade, quite frankly. That's how good it is.
Yeah, it's if we can get to the end of our review, this is probably one of my favorite games that I've played ever. And I've played games spanning the 7 console generations that we've had, from the Atari 2600 all the way up to what we have now. It is a game that basically takes a narrative from its start to finish in the best possible way. It's some of the best storytelling, some of the best cinematography. I was talking to Jeff. It's like they hired movie cinematographers and they framed all the scenes like they were actually filming a movie. It looks like you're watching a really good movie, albeit one that takes place over about 16 hours or so. But it's high up there on my list of favorite games of all time, favorite experiences. Definitely one of my favorite experiences this console generation and last. It's just phenomenal.
I really want to say that this is the best game Naughty Dog's ever made, and I think it might be. I think it's as good as Uncharted 2 was, and that is the best game in that series. And I think that if there wasn't The Last of Us, it would be definitively the best game that Naughty Dog's ever made. I think it's an absolute triumph, and it's such an amazing, amazing game. But when you try to compare it to The Last of Us, they're so different that it's really hard for me to say that one or the other is great. As a technical achievement, The Last of Us trumps anything they've ever done, just because I don't think any other company in the world, in the history of the PlayStation 3, has been able to pull more out of the PlayStation 3 than Naughty Dog. Yeah, I don't know how they've done it, but it's really impressive.
At some point, it's how are they doing this on this console? How are you able to see forever and have detail forever? You're in some areas where you're looking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet, and it's wow, I can see detail this far away. That should not be possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's good. it's like I said, it's one of my favorite games, and obviously it's not for everybody. Some aspects of the story really kind of hit home with me a lot. Being a little bit older, having kids, I'm sure if I was 18 and basically partying all the time, I might have a different view of some parts of this game.
It's certainly not a dude bro game, right? I mean,
No.
if you have a working heart, I think you're going to feel something at some point in this game, right?
No. Yeah, no, yeah, you will. There'll
Yeah.
be some dust in the air at some point.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
You're like, so did somebody just sprinkle pepper in front of me?
Yeah, it's great. So I don't know. Let's start talk about some of the mechanics of the game. So I'm not going to talk about the story at all, other than what I did in the intro. So
Yeah.
so this is if you've played Uncharted, you know kind of what this game is. You're a guy running around, basically interacting with the environment through kind of cutscene type things. There's a lot of gunplay, and they've added a crafting system in this game to kind of differentiate it a little bit differently. And that's kind of the gist of the game. And they've taken all those kind of aspects and they've kind of polished them to the point where I don't think they could have done much more to make it better. You have a view behind your character. You're running around. You can get in and out of cover just by basically walking up to different things in the environment. Which is really nice. You don't have to hit a cover button. It's not like Gears where you stick to cover and you have to hit a button to get out of cover. It's just kind of like everything that Naughty Dog has done in Uncharted. Everything is very contextual. So like everybody said, oh my God, Nathan Drake is running by a wall and he puts his hand out to kind of steady himself. And that's kind of what this game does as well.
Yeah. If I haven't played it in a long time, so if somebody has, correct me if I'm wrong. You do have to press a button to get into cover in the Uncharted series, I think.
Yeah.
So in this game, you don't.
Yep.
And at the beginning, I kind of felt like I wanted that. You know, like I really wanted to be glued to cover.
Yep.
But in the game, I think the game is really punishing at the beginning for a reason, and that's so that they just drive the hell out of you, right? That you're dying all the time. I went into my statistics. I died 40 times throughout the entire game. And I think the most of that was right at the beginning of the game where they're teaching you all the stuff that you need to know so that when you get out there, you don't die as much because dying kind of
doesn't matter.
It stops the momentum of the story,
Yeah,
right? Like
sure.
if you're dying 6 or 7 times and you're like, man, I'm doing this a lot. I'm hearing the same stuff over and over again. It does halt the momentum of the story.
Yeah.
So they punish the hell out of you in the beginning. And
Yeah.
it's very frustrating, but frustrating in a good way. The game never felt like it was like I was being cheated out of a win. You know, like I'm dying because it's my fault. Should I have thrown that brick a little bit farther? Should I have waited in this cover? You know, maybe I should have held my listen button a little bit longer. I should have attacked this angle differently. And it's a game that presents itself to be quite linear, but when you get into combat situations, it's very open to interpretation. There were quite a few engagements where I just didn't kill anyone and just snuck on past.
Yeah.
And maybe that was the right way to go about it, you know?
Yeah, like I said, it's super contextual when you get in and out of cover. Like you go up against a wall and you kind of just go into cover mode. You can creep up against it just by being next to it. There's also a listen mode where you hold down R2 and you go into this mode where the world kind of turns a little bit black and white and you kind of hear creatures through the wall. And all that kind of adds into, or it kind of, it bolsters your way to play the game stealthy if that's what you want. But you can go guns blazing if you want. When the game was first being described, they basically said that all ammo is going to be at a premium and you're not going to want to use your guns very often. I didn't find that at all. I found that I was finding ammo everywhere and I could kind of run and gun as much as I wanted. I would run out of ammo with one weapon and I'd switch to another weapon and then have more bullets and then run out of bullets there and go to another one and start shooting arrows at people's faces. So if you wanted to play it as kind of a more traditional kind of shooter, you could do that as well. But I think some of the fun that I had in the game was kind of sneaking up on some of these creatures and choking them out or shanking them, and then kind of running away and hiding and seeing kind of what would happen.
It certainly made the game a lot more tense,
Yeah.
Than taking every engagement from the back of the level, right, and just shooting guys and waiting for them to come to you. It's more like, I think this game would have benefited greatly from one new item, and that would be, I would love it if the game had binoculars that you could pull out and you could kind of mark targets, much like you could with your camera in Far Cry 3.
Right.
Because I think it would be cool because most of the engagements that they set you up with, they give you a pretty big area to run around in, because they know there are different routes that you can run, and those routes could be good or bad for enemy AI to flank around on you. I would have loved it if there was like a pair of binoculars. It seems like a pretty cool survival tool to have. But that said, you can still survey the battlefield, as it were, from a bunch of different angles and really kind of get the feel on where to go. And in that sense, the game is very smart in the way that it tells you how to play it in it. Like at the beginning, it's like, well, okay, it's literally telling you throw this brick and distract that guy, and then those guys will come around and see it. And then you can just sneak on past, or you can isolate this one guy, and it's really all about using that like listening skill, right? Mm-hmm. Then when the game kind of goes out of the tutorial level, if you want to call it that, and you're out on your own, you have the opportunity to set up an engagement every way you like. And, a lot of mine was just, okay, so there's a bunch of infected here. I've got clickers and I have runners. I might as well just whip a bottle and then equip quickly a Molotov, so that when they're all together, I just whip the Molotov over there. And I was doing really well at the end of this game. I mean, I was killing 5 or 6 guys in one time. Bloaters would come in, I'd whip a Molotov and kill them all. Nail bomb was great.
Some of the most satisfying kills in this game were throwing a Molotov at one guy and then having him scream, and then everybody else that was nearby runs at him to hear what the commotion is, and then they get lit on fire too. And I'm just like, wow, you zombies are stupid, but thanks for making me only waste one Molotov to kill the lot of you guys.
Yeah, I guess I would say that maybe the defense of that was, I don't imagine their eyes are all that good, because they got a fungus growing in their brain, that eventually makes them blind. So.
No, it makes sense. I mean, every kind of zombie literature is kind of like that. If you make a loud noise, they go running, and then you use that to you make a loud noise, you attach an air horn to a pipe bomb, get everybody to run towards the air horn, and then the pipe bomb blows up.
Even Left 4 Dead did that, right? With I think even Call of Duty Zombies has like a little a tambourine monkey thing, that you throw and it blows up when they all get near it. It's really, really fun, but it's also very frustrating as well too. I mean, there are some situations where there's just so many guys, and it feels like you're backed into a corner, and really you are. And I think the game kind of breaks itself a little bit when you have guys that are shooting at you and a guy sneaks up behind you and then you get in a fist fight. The game falls apart at that point.
Yeah, because you're still getting shot, and then you go into like an animation where you basically stab him in the throat, and you're getting shot the whole time, and then
you can't break the animation.
Yeah,
you realize you're playing a video game at that point.
Yeah, and there's certain other times when you realize you're playing a video game, like you'll be hiding in like, I don't know, behind a box, and then the character that's with you, Ellie, will basically run towards you right in front of another clicker or an enemy that should see her, but she just runs right past the enemy and then gets in and saddles up right next to you. And it's like, all right, that's kind of weird. And then you'll do something like she'll be basically talking to you while you're in cover, and it's like, don't talk to me. They'll hear.
Shut your mouth.
But they don't hear. And then you'll go and you'll stab a runner in the throat, so he makes a gurgle sound, and next thing you know, every other zombie in the area comes running at you. So there's weird things like that where it's like, okay, certain things are visible to these enemies and certain things aren't. Obviously,
I think that it's definitely like something they probably did in balancing, where they're like, well, Ellie's always running around and shit, right?
Yeah. So, if she resulted in me dying multiple times, I would have been not too happy. But
there were situations where she was literally like in front of a man, and he was basically walking and pushing her out of the way and didn't see her. Those situations weren't very abundant, but there were a lot of situations where they would have seen her, right? And my death total probably would have went from 40 to maybe closer to 100 after situations like that, because the game, and I think it's done really well in the story as well too. The game is about survival. It's about surviving all the time, and I think survival in this world is about getting the drop on everybody. You have to set up your engagements to be almost a cheap shot, right? You got to come up behind a guy and stab him in the throat. That's the world we live in, and that's the way you got to play the game if you want to be good at it. I think on the harder difficulties, ammo is probably pretty scarce, and materials for crafting as well is pretty scarce. Let's actually talk about crafting. It's a very interesting system as well too.
Sure, yeah. So in the game, you find junk. You're finding bottles of alcohol. You're finding rags. You're finding nails, other sharp objects, scissors that are torn in half. Apparently, every pair of scissors in the world has been torn in half for some strange reason. I don't know what would have caused that to happen. Maybe some bomb destroyed all the scissors in the world, and that's what caused the downfall of society.
It's a scissor now. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a scissor. But you can run with scissor. You can't run with scissors, but you can run with scissor, and it's okay.
Yeah, it is a very that's another time where the video game comes out, right? We're like, man, all of these items look the same and they're abundant everywhere. Or not abundant, but they're everywhere, and nobody else is scavenging these items. Like, nobody needs them but me. That's pretty interesting. You know, like, I'm taking things from other survivors that you meet, and they're telling me in dialogue, go ahead and take whatever you want. I'm like, you don't need these to survive? Like, are you planning on killing yourself or something? Like, what's going on here?
Kyle K in the chat room says maybe it's just common apocalypse courtesy that if you find scissors, you only take half of it. Maybe.
What a that's actually really funny.
That is hilarious.
Maybe that's exactly how it is. Like, it's the campsite thing, right? You gotta leave it better than you found it.
Exactly.
Somebody else might need to survive, so I'll leave them half the scissor.
So you're finding all these strewn objects that for some reason haven't gone away. You're also finding like bolts and nuts and other little bits of junk. So the crafting system basically has a bunch of different blocks and different items that you're creating, and they each require one or more blocks to create an item. So for a pipe bomb, you need fabric and alcohol. And to create a healing kit, you need the same thing. So it's kind of risk versus reward. Do you want to kill people with your Molotovs, or do you want to heal yourself because you're dying? Which is a choice I love making in games like this. Totally.
They force you to make a shit decision like that. You're like, do I have enough confidence in my ability to stay unseen that I can go without 3 med kits, right? And I need to have 3 Molotovs because they're very extremely powerful in this game, especially when you get, more training manuals to help you increase the power of them. A decision that I love making because it just, you're sitting there with the controller in your hand. The game is effectively on pause, even though you craft in real time, so somebody can sneak up on you. Smart enough, do all your crafting, while you're in a safe zone, and you're just sitting there thinking like, what's the lesser of two evils here? And I love that kind of just putting you in a position that it's already a bad situation to be in, and they're just making it worse. Do you want health or do you want ammunition? What do you want?
It's totally like I said, risk versus reward. It's such a good choice in this game. What else? So that's the crafting system. You're finding junk, and you can like mash the junk together in different ways to come up with different items.
You should have said it a different way.
Yes. Well, I wanted to make jokes, so there you go. And then there's a weapon upgrade system. So you find the junk, you find the bolts and the nuts and bolts and bags of miscellaneous metal, and then you can use it to upgrade your weapons in different ways. So you can make it so you do more damage or have more shots in the clip and stuff like that. And there's also an upgrade system for you as a character. You're finding pills, basically supplements, and then those you can use to make it so that you can hear people further away, or you can eventually get to the point where if you're attacked by a clicker, which is basically an instant death for you, like these creatures that are called clickers in the game, they will run up close to you, and if they get close to you, they basically chomp at your throat and you're dead. But you can basically upgrade it to a point where you can basically shank them in the throat instead of them biting you. So
I never upgraded that part, actually. I didn't feel like it was worth it.
Yeah, for me it helped a couple times getting through a couple different scenarios. So it's kind of a three upgrade systems that are all kind of interrelated. So you're upgrading your character to do better. You're finding more stuff to either make weapons or to upgrade your weapons, and that's pretty much the crafting system in the game. It's well done. I mean, it's not deep. It's not like Far Cry 3 where you're finding different animal pelts and it's like, oh crap, I need one more otter pelt, so I got to go find some otters. There's no otters in Far Cry 3, but I'm just using that as an example. It's basically you're finding the same like 6 things and then you can combine them in different ways to make different stuff.
And it's not deep, but it doesn't have to be good. And I think that's something that this game does really well, is that it focuses on what it needs to make good, and it makes those things great. And then the things that are kind of almost inconsequential, crafting doesn't need to be that deep, but we're going to give you enough that the choices you're going to have to make about crafting are going to be difficult, right? And they're going to put you into stress, because the game is about putting the player in stress. And Sinister in the chat room saying that he found the crafting interface kind of weird. I think it is as well too. It doesn't ever tell you specifically that you're picking up things that are only worth a quarter, right? You have to really look at it. And I was sitting far enough back from my TV that I couldn't see it. And you pick up things that are, you pick up the scissors perhaps, right? And it's okay, well, this only gives you a quarter of what you need to make a full shank or whatever, right? That was never, I didn't really understand that until maybe around a third of the way through the game. And I was like, oh, now I get it. Nobody really told me it. And the system felt a little bit clunky, and I was picking up things and then I wasn't still able to craft and I didn't understand. But it's such a strange, I think the whole inventory system is a little bit strange. And we were talking about this when we had lunch, and I feel like the reason it is a little bit strange and a little bit clunky is because it's done in real time, and it makes you stressed out about doing things quickly and making decisions quickly, which is kind of what the game is all about. It makes you kind of worrisome, right? So like all of my crafting, I never did on the fly. I always had my crafting stuff done, either as soon as I picked up an item or as soon as I was done like a big battle, right? I didn't want to have to do any of that stuff in the heat of battle. All I wanted to do and focus on was healing or switching to another weapon, which was also a little bit clunky until I realized that with the bench tables, I could make new holsters and have different weapons equipped at the same time. And that was such a load off by the time I had 2 pistol slots and 2 long gun slots. I mean, that was fantastic.
Yeah, essentially, that is kind of like the more clunky thing at the start of the game. Finding multiple weapons, but only be able to use one at a time. And like you said, once you are able to upgrade your holsters, it kind of makes combat not suck so much, not be such a chore for like pulling out your rifle, sniping someone, then pulling out like your shotgun or whatever. So that was really kind of cool. So what else? I mean, we don't want to talk about anything story related, so I guess we're kind of just talking about the external parts of the game that
I would like to do a spoiler cast at some point for those people who want to hear us talk about more in depth on the story, but obviously not the right place for us to do it here.
Yeah, if you guys out there want to hear the spoiler cast and us talk about the story and kind of the spoilery things, shoot us a note, vgpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know. And if we get enough requests, we'll definitely do that. I
think the other thing I want to talk about is
Sinister multiplayer.
Yeah, so the multiplayer, that's a good place to go next. I played it. I do like it. I think the games last a little bit too long for my liking, and after playing such an exhaustive campaign before going into the multiplayer, I did feel a little bit burnt out about playing it. And I was also on a really shitty team. I felt like the teammate. This is a game where if your teammates suck, you are feeling it quickly.
Yeah. It's the multiplayer is basically set up. It's kind of like it's clan battles. So you have the Fireflies, which are kind of the savior kind of people in the game who you're trying to find or whatever, and then the other people, the hunters, and you choose a clan. So I want to be a Firefly, or I want to be a hunter. And then multiplayer basically has you compete in multiple matches. There's 2 different types of matches, and when you play and you kill someone, you get you get medicine. And then you get gears, which is like the junk. You use the junk to buy better weapons. You use the medicine to feed your people, because after the match, it tells you that you recruited X number of people to your cause, and now you have 15 people in your camp instead of 12. But they require food, so you have to keep playing matches to feed them. And your character levels up as you level up by finding the junk. You get access to different weapons, different perks, different things like that. And then the end game of this is to make it all the way, building up a biggish crew of people, not a huge crew, but a biggish crew, to get to like level 30, or maybe it's level 60. And then once you do that, you essentially beat that campaign in multiplayer, and then you get to choose which side you want to be again. Do you want to be Fireflies if you were Fireflies before, or do you want to play the other side? And then there's separate trophies for doing that, for beating each of the two multiplayer campaigns. I jumped into it and played. I don't know. I was talking with Jeff when we went for lunch that I found it really annoying that a bunch of like level 0 and level 1s were matched against a team of like 12s. So you have these guys that have all the better weapons. They're basically sniping you from all the way across the map. They know the maps, and they're basically just using like us for noob fodder. I would have hoped that there was enough people playing this game online that they would have had maybe a better matchmaking system that could have properly made like something that would have been useful for myself, instead of dying 17 times and only having like 2 kills. It was really annoying.
My first game, I got 10 kills, but I died like 19 times, and I was like, man, these guys are good. Like I'm standing up and I can't see anything because it's the snowed out map. And this, like, there's a sniper across the map just sitting in a gazebo, just takes my head right off. I'm like, oh, and that guy killed me like 5 or 6 times. It was definitely a map that was suited for longer range engagements. So I mean, I'm stupid enough to, stand up. Never stand up in this game, ever. Unless you're totally that goes for the campaign as well. Unless you're totally safe, never stand up ever. Always be crouching. But yeah, I get the feeling like good matchmaking is very expensive. There's only one game that I've played. There's probably more that have done it, but that I've played that I feel that are really good at, and that's Halo. Halo's fantastic with matchmaking. Mm-hmm. Bungie did an unreal job, putting together their system before they left, and now 343 is doing the same thing. I mean, they're picking up where they left off and making matchmaking really, really great. I wish there was a better matchmaking system in this game, but it is not. Sorry, it's not a multiplayer system I'm gonna play a lot on. No. It's not as good as the Uncharted multiplayer. Uncharted was pretty good, and I think a lot of people were worried that multiplayer was going to take away from the story on The Last of Us. You do not have to worry about that at all. The campaign suffers none for the multiplayer that's in this game. And I think the multiplayer, if you're really into the combat system in this game, I think you'll get a lot of kicks out of this. It's a very fun system, but I think you got to be on a team of your friends. When you're kind of just solo going through it like Lloyd and I did, mm-hmm. Not really the best situation. You're at the mercy. It's a very team oriented game. I like the fact that if you could keep enough of your resources after the game, you could use those out of the actual matches to kind of bolster your residency or whatever, your group of people. That was cool. I like the fact that it's effectively the same thing. They're just giving you maps to play on and different objectives to do. I've only played 2 games, so I don't know any more of the game from that. But is there a situation? I don't know if you've played any more than what you said, Lloyd. But is there a situation where like the 2 factions will compete against each other, but infected will also come into the game?
I haven't seen that.
That would be really cool. I think that would really kind of make the game different. I would play a lot more of that if there was also the risk of infected, hopping around. If there was a clicker somewhere on the map, or a bloater somewhere,
sure.
That would be wicked.
It would be. I don't know. I'm the wrong person to talk about multiplayer. I dislike online multiplayer.
Mhm.
I played so much Halo and Gears of War and was just dealing with like 12-year-old kids that just annoyed me to no end, where I basically just lost all taste of multiplayer. Obviously this game doesn't have it, and you can mute everybody if you don't want to hear any voices. But I don't have enough time to devote into it. It's something that you have to spend a lot of time doing to get good at it. Otherwise you're noob fodder like I was initially. This game had a pre-order for the season pass. So if you pre-ordered the season pass, you got some day one bonuses, yada yada yada. Who cares? But you also got a making of movie, which is the making of the game, which I really wanted because it was made by Area 5, a bunch of people that I really respect, and it's like crap. So I have to pre-order this season pass for 3 DLC packs, one of them being story related and 2 of them being multiplayer related, and I don't like multiplayer. So I was a little bit pissed off at that. I don't know if I'm even going to go and play any more multiplayer. I might jump into a few games here and there. We should maybe play together a couple times, Jeff, to see if it works any better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand multiplayer in a game like this that is so narrative driven. Why did multiplayer have to be a part of it?
It did seem like an interesting choice, but I mean, it also seemed like an interesting choice on Uncharted 2 when they first brought it in. But it was good, you know. I think the action was, because it was a little bit more fast paced, and there was you know, a lot to do about the platforming aspect of Uncharted, that it played better. This is a very slow game, and I feel like maybe they were trying to do something like, listen, now you get to survive with your friends, and there's no story to be had. You're just in that world. It's almost as if it's like a spin-off game of itself that only has combat, you know?
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, kind of interesting, but it really didn't capture me. I don't think there's anything really bad about it. It's just coming off of the game, the campaign, which is so good, and then you play this and you're like, I don't know, you know, like I almost felt like I was ruining it for myself, you know, like maybe I should stop playing this and just, you know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the game through again, you know, on Survivor. I want to do that. I would love to play on Survivor. But
to that, do you know what my favorite thing about the whole game is?
What?
For all the trophy whores out there, to actually get the platinum in this game, you essentially have to beat the game 4 times. And that made me smile because people that just play the games for the achievements kind of drive me crazy. And the fact that they're going to have to play through a 16-hour campaign plus a whole pile of multiplayer to platinum this game kind of really makes me smile.
Yeah. I was not expecting. I think I beat the entire game. I got 2 trophies. Not that I cared, but
that's exactly
you know,
what I got.
I got 2 trophies, and I was like, well, whatever. But I kind of liked it because the trophy thing and the achievement thing, when it pops up, I pay attention to it, right? And maybe Naughty Dog was like, listen, let's make it so you don't get a lot of trophies unless you really go the hell out of your way to do this game, so that it doesn't pull you out of the experience, you know. And it kind of worked. I mean, I was really into it, and I still am. I'm going to take a couple of weeks at least of a rest on this game because it's such a jarring emotional experience. Shortlist for me for Game of the Year. It probably will be Game of the Year. If I wasn't so close to have finished, like I finished it 24 hours ago, I would love to say that this is like my favorite game of all time, and it might very well be in a few years, but I feel like I'm in that honeymoon stage and I don't want to be too overzealous, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Although I can't really come much harder than saying what I've already said, like, you know, buy it now. It's a fantastic game. You know, the ratings of perfect and 10 out of 10 and 9s out of 10 are definitely deserving. The things that I have problems with are very minor. I mean, I had to do some real nitpicking to have anything bad to say about it. And yeah, it's a phenomenal game. I mean, it really is. It took me 15 hours to beat, and that seems to be about par.
Mm-hmm.
Sinister saying it took how long to beat it? According to them, it's 14 hours. Took him 20. You know, it really depends on how many times you die.
Yep.
Just fantastic. I'm excited for the DLC. I'm excited to see what they do with it, because I think the story does really come together at the end, and I don't think there's a need for a sequel or really story expanding DLC.
Yeah.
I would like to see DLC that focuses on the other characters and how they got to the situation that put them in when you meet them in The Last of Us. That would be cool.
Yeah, I think the single player DLC might actually just focus on a whole different group of people, or maybe on some of the story segments where there's like a large gap in time. Maybe something will happen in between those. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. They definitely like they would be smart to do. They left it open for potential sequels. Like the world didn't blow up. It's like the planet doesn't dissolve into a pile of goo. So there could be other adventures in this really crazy dystopian world. I really love the world that they crafted. I love the story. I love the characters, the acting, the interaction between characters. It's perfect. If we gave review scores, I would easily give it a 10 out of 10. Like I don't find anything at fault with this game that would cause me to dock it at any points. After playing it and beating it, I went back and read some of the reviews that gave it like a 5 out of 10 or 75%. And stuff that they were finding like faults in. It's just like, wow, what do you guys expect? And why are you giving other games 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 that have so many more problems? Like they're finding weird problems with weird things with this game. So it's definitely, I guess it's a game that speaks to different people, different ways. But yeah, I really, really like this game. I'm really glad I played it. And it kept me wanting to keep pushing ahead and playing through the really tough battle segments, and that's an interesting thing for a game to do. Like I lately, if there's stuff where I get really frustrated, I'm such an OCD gamer lately because I have an iPad and an iPhone and a 3DS sitting right beside me, so I'll pause the game and I'll do something on my iPad for an hour and then get back and play it. This game, no, I was just like, nope, I want to hear the next little bit of story. I want to figure out what happens. I want to see where these people go, and just kept me hooked for pretty much the whole 16 or 15 or 14 hours, whatever my save game reports that it took me to play.
Yeah, this game might be the first game that I've ever played where the violence actually, it didn't make me like ill or anything, like sick to my stomach, like I got woozy or something, but the violence, like it was hard to hurt people that bad, you know? Like, yeah,
there's some segments, especially at the start, where it's like even the battle, the fighting is all context sensitive as well. So I fought a guy and I was near a desk, so I ended up punching him, and then I grab him behind the head and I smash his teeth right on the edge of the desk, and I'm just like, what the hell was that? All right, blood spatter everywhere. I'm glad my kids weren't down here. It
is a mature game. If you like this game, go and read Cormac McCarthy's The Road. I know a lot of people are drawing parallels to it, and there's a lot of parallels to be found in that book. Fantastic novel. I have it on my bookshelf upstairs. I love that book. The movie's also very good with Viggo Mortensen. But if you like this kind of stuff, The Road has nothing to do with zombies, but I mean it's just bleak as hell, and there's no real good to be found in almost the entire novel, which is, it's like 350 pages of just depressing shit. And this is like 15 hours of depressing shit. And the things that the game makes you do and says, listen, we don't care if you're okay with it. This is survival, either man up or die. That's what the game is telling you to do. And that is a tough choice.
The people that have survived obviously are a little bit harder ass than the people that didn't. So it kind of tells that story.
Yeah. Fantastic game, guys. Go pick it up.
Yep, exactly. I agree. All right. Well, that's our 2 reviews. Just a couple minutes of talking about games there. We didn't go on for too long, Jeff.
No. 40 minutes maybe.
All right, well, let's take a small break just so I can catch my breath, and then let's get into we'll get into the news. We got a couple newsy news things to talk about. So let's try the random chiptune machine and see if we get any better than the last one, and we'll talk to you guys in a couple minutes. getting in the groove there. I didn't realize that we'd been gone on for 2.5 minutes. I was like, oh, it's about a minute. I look, 2.5. Wow.
Well, it was certainly a lot better than the last one. So
Couldn't have been much worse.
let it roll for a little bit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's jump
I guess
right.
it's a good thing to get some happy stuff in there as we're talking about some bad stuff on the back end, and now we're gonna rant a little bit about some bad stuff that is kind of good but is also bad, and yeah.
Yeah.
Video games. What the hell
right.
are we doing here?
Well, let's talk about Microsoft. So we kind of ripped them a new one about the whole DRM and the Xbox One announcement at E3 and all the.
I think we were the only one to do that too.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. Like we had not many good things to say about them. We pretty much called them idiots, and I think it was justified. A lot of stuff they did at E3 was just really stupid. So all of a sudden this week, just out of the blue, Microsoft releases a memo. It was actually on Wednesday, late on Wednesday, that they're reversing all of their DRM stuff. They're like, we're listening to our fans. We heard what you said at E3, and we had a conversation, and we're going to reverse all the stuff. So your console will no longer have to connect every 24 hours. It will never have to connect except for the first time when you buy it. You can take a disc to a friend's house and play the game off that disc. You can sell games. You can give games away. There's no limitations on that stuff. So essentially, all the stuff that Sony kind of joked about at E3, Xbox kind of, or Microsoft rather, about the Xbox One, kind of reversed all that stuff. I guess people didn't like it, Jeff. I guess that's what I'm kind of gathering here.
It didn't go over well, for obvious reasons. When I think about it, and kind of the cool down from E3 that I wanted to do if we did the show last week would have been talking about just how I feel about the console war, if you're going to call it that. And I hate calling it that because it's stupid. But if you're going to call it
it's
that,
accurate. It is
accurate.
It's two companies fighting for dollars, essentially.
Yeah. But how I felt about it at that point, and I didn't feel like the Xbox One was 100% wrong, but I felt like the way they dug their heels in and all the PR stuff and be like, listen, this is the way it's going to be. We're going to the future, everybody. Come with us to the future.
Wow.
And
the arrogance that they showed, like there was that interview that was done, like what happens if someone doesn't have internet connection where they are? What if they're in a nuclear sub? And he's just like, well, we have a solution for those people. It's called the Xbox 360. It's just like being totally flip and arrogant about their system. They're essentially calling the people that support them idiots.
And that was, when Don Matrix said that, it was Jeff Keighley, an interview. Jeff Keighley,
Don Matrix, a douchebag.
Oh, he's such an asshole. I mean, he's such an idiot too.
He's the epitome of Microsoft's arrogance. Like,
yeah, he is Microsoft's Bobby Kotick.
Mm-hmm.
That's who he is. You know. That said, though, I had come away, post E3, let's say, by Thursday or whatever. Actually, the day the announcement was made in the afternoon, I was kind of just writing some thoughts down and on my MacBook and thinking like, it's not really that bad. I mean, yeah, there are some things here that are really stupid. I mean, I want my games to be used. I want to own my games. I want to be able to sell them to whoever I want. I don't like the online check-in, but it really doesn't affect me that much because my internet doesn't really go down all that often. And it's not like I'm going to be playing the console 24 hours a day. And I don't ever take it with me anywhere. But those things affect other people, and I sympathize with them because that's a big thing, and all the features that they touted were really more restrictions than anything else. I sympathize with everybody's concerns, but it didn't affect me all that much. So I wasn't ready to sell them down the river, but I still wasn't going to buy one.
You don't know if it affects you all that much.
That's true. Like, there was no real way to know for sure until I had one, and I certainly was not going to buy one.
And the scary thing about what the Xbox One would have been is if Anonymous decides to do a huge distributed denial of service attack, a DDoS attack against their servers, and brought down Xbox Live for a day. Yeah. That's all you would need is 24 hours, and then every console out there would then become like useless. Like,
and they could totally do it. They as much as much as I hate saying that they have power, they do have some kind of false power with just how many smart people tech-wise are in that group. And then they could totally do it just to prove a point, right? Say, hey, Microsoft, look, we took you down easy, and now no one can play your games.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to say for yourself now? And that's a situation that could happen. Now, that doesn't mean I am a Microsoft apologist, because I am far from that. I still think that the arrogance and just the out and out stupidity of the decisions that they tried to make were baffling and quite frankly were a detriment, in my opinion, to the gaming community and gaming's future. And then of course Sony with their announcement and saying like, oh, we're not doing any of that. So Microsoft then decides, listen, let's remove the DRM. Used games are fine. You don't have to check in. You do have to check in when you buy the console one time, and it sets up the console for you, and it also downloads a day one patch, because they put out a patch now for this thing, so that it can now do what it needs to do to function in the way that this press release says.
But before you go any further, do you know what's ironic about that? At their E3 press conference, they said that DRM isn't an on and off switch. It is built into the DNA of the system. Mm-hmm. This sounds almost like there's an on and off switch.
Yeah, which we all knew there was. I mean, you, as a programmer, right? And Lloyd, you could probably speak to this. Would you ever design a system that doesn't have a backup or some sort of failsafe or some sort of let's maybe change our minds at some point? You're like, why would you ever design something that is 100% we're going forward but never going back?
There's a single point of failure in the system, and that is incredibly stupid to design into a system. But they wanted it to be always online, and I mean, if that's what you're doing, that's kind of what you need. You need the servers to authenticate everything that's happening with the system.
Mm-hmm. So with that, they also took away the family sharing plan, which I guess really, but 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It doesn't really matter that much, but it does kind of suck that now we can't share games.
But do you know what? Do you know what kind of leaked after this press release is someone speaking on anonymity. I've been speaking for too long tonight. My tongue's not working. That is so weird. Basically, like talking as an anonymous person who is an engineer with Microsoft, said that their family sharing wasn't like I share all my library with Jeff. It was I share my library with Jeff, and he gets a 15-minute to 45-minute demo of the game that he can play for free. So
I heard that as well. Greenberg, I think his first name is Adam Greenberg. He was asked that on Twitter, and he said that is not true. Now, again, it's really tough to try and figure out who's telling the truth here, because it's internet stuff, and really you could go on there and post anything. I do have the feeling that the family sharing plan worked the way that we originally thought it would, and the way I'm more inclined to believe Adam Greenberg than I am some anonymous person on the internet.
Who is Adam Greenberg?
I think that's his name. I was just reading it. Let me go and find it right now, because
Adam Greenberg's a player for the American baseball team. He's he's a member of the Bridgeport Bluefish of the Atlantic League of Professional Baseball.
Okay, I might totally have the wrong name here. I'm gonna find it. But they were saying that that is false, and that it was going to be, they're not going to be timed or anything like that.
I find that highly suspect. This is Microsoft. Would they give away 10 copies of a game for free, or 9 copies of a game for free?
Well, I mean, but it was only to one person,
No, it's to 10 people.
But only one person can play it at one time. So
no, they didn't say that. They
did say that, yeah.
Okay, not in any of the interviews that I read.
Okay. It was, you couldn't play them at the same time as some person. Only one person would be able to play that game online at the same time. Only one person at one time would be able to play it. That's the way I read it. Adam Goldberg is the guy. Sinister, saving me in the chat room. I'm going to pull up his Twitter, because he was talking on Twitter today about no, that's not it. God, I can't. Now I can't find it, and it's like a very critical part of this this whole thing.
I
Again,
don't know.
I'm trying. It sounds like I'm trying to defend Microsoft here, and I'm not, because I still don't align with
the
any
only
of
reason
this.
why I kind of believe the anonymous tipster is because it was leaked to people that have been correct in the past. So it's not just some
Aaron
random.
Greenberg. There we go.
It's not just some random people.
Yeah, but there's no there. I don't like it when people try to. I don't want to defend Microsoft here at all. I really don't. But I feel like
he's a chief of staff for interactive entertainment business at Microsoft. So someone that's in charge of something at Microsoft is diffusing bad PR. Boy, that's a bizarre thing for someone at Microsoft to do.
No, but I'm like the point is, who do you believe? The guy who works at Microsoft, or some guy who didn't have the balls to say who he was on a message board where you could post anything and be anyone?
Yeah, but he leaked it to a journalist who has journalists get anonymous leaks all the time. If I was working for Microsoft, I wouldn't come out and say, "Yeah, our system was stupid," because I wouldn't be working at Microsoft anymore. But anyway, it doesn't really matter who it was that did it. I've heard that in the past when there was the big leak of Microsoft's marketing documentation for the new Xbox. This happened about 16 months ago or 14 months ago, and pretty much everything that was in that came to pass. And there was something in there. I can't find the PDF right now, otherwise I'd bring it up right now, about timed demo sharing with trusted friends or something along those lines. So that seems to be kind of what the plan was. Whether that was the plan or not, people are saying, "Oh, well, look at this. Now I can't share games with friends." Well, you probably couldn't have done it in the way that you're thinking anyway.
Yeah.
I don't see that as a pain. I heard a lot of people complain about, "Oh, well, fine, thanks, internet whiners. Now I have to have my disc in my console at all times." Well, yeah. If you want to have a system that you can borrow a disc from a friend, you're going to have the disc in your console at all times. If you don't want a disc in your console, you buy the digital version, and then you don't have the same rights that you do as you would if you had the physical medium.
Yeah, I was reading those too as well. The people who were still mad at Microsoft for going back, like they wanted the future, and I'm thinking, is putting a disc in your console really that hard? I mean, my Xbox is there, and you can see behind me there's a stack of games, and I have arms and hands with opposable thumbs and shit. Like, I don't understand. Like, it made no sense, and it's just, who cares? I mean, you got to put your disc in the console like you've had to for the past 2.5 decades.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have no discs, but then wanting to be able to sell said discs to someone else, because that breaks the system. Yeah. So I mean, it's tied together. Like, anyway, so Microsoft went back on their promise. This is baked into the DNA of our console promise, which was just, it was done in such a quick manner, in such a knee-jerk way. People were talking online, but it totally reminded me of the whole Netflix and Quickster thing, where Netflix said that they were going to spin off their DVDs to another company, and their digital streaming will remain with another one. And this happened, and their stock dropped like 50%, and then everybody was blowing up online. And then like a week later, they're like, "We were stupid. We shouldn't have done that. Everything's going to be the same. Don't worry." And they basically just kind of diffuse this whole thing. That seems totally what Microsoft did. And the most genius thing about this whole process is the fact that Sony stayed out of this conversation. They said what they had to. They said, "We're not doing this. If you want to share games, here's what you do. You hand it to a friend. We're not going to lock the console in any such way." Because Sony is smart, and they know that in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, everybody's going to be buying stuff digitally. In 2 years, a good proportion of their customer base will be buying everything digitally. In a year after that, a larger segment of their owners will be doing that. And a year after that, a larger segment. Like, this is where the world is going. People don't want to have physical things. People want to buy bits.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in certain aspects, for sure. Yeah.
Sure. Just let me finish what I was going to say. So, Sony knows that in the future, this is where things are going, that there will be no used game market because people are not going to be buying physical discs. So they didn't have to say, "We're not letting you do this. We're not going to let you do this. We're not going to let you. We're not going to let you. We're not going to let you." because that is, you don't want to tell your customers that we're not going to let you do something, because that gets people pissed off. They just said that, yeah, it's status quo. And what they're going to do is slowly roll out more functionality for digital downloads. They're going to maybe have digital discounts, or maybe early purchases. So if you buy it digitally, you get it the day before it comes out on a disc. They're going to slowly work these things into the system to convert people over to buying things digitally. But they didn't have to stand up on stage and say, if you want to share a game, here are the 17 crazy steps you're going to have to follow to do it. And you can only do it for this person, but you can only do it once, but you can't do it another time. Like Microsoft was stupid to stand up and say to their customers, we know you want our thing, but if you want our thing, you're not going to be able to do this and this and this that you want to do. Like that is stupid marketing. Like your customers are never wrong.
Yeah. One thing that I think everybody said that, we've said on the show a million times is that Microsoft's messaging has been absolutely horrendous since the day they announced the console.
No two people in the company know what the actual like talking points are.
Yeah.
At all.
You said always online, and you said sometimes online. What's the difference? Who's pulling your strings here, people? Like, what is going on? So I'm really happy about this announcement. I think it's fantastic. It's really, really great. It makes me more interested in the console. Still not going to buy one day one, or probably not even for the first year at least. But it certainly now becomes a purchase option when this has been announced. I still think the price points, $499, is way too high. Don't bundle the Kinect with it. I don't want that hunk of shit on my TV. There still is the privacy issue, even though that it's not always online. The fact is, I'm probably still going to be connected to the internet. So in a sense, I am online most of the time, or at least when I'm playing. So I don't like that. Drop the price, give it $399, and really, really make Sony have to think about it. But when it comes to the digital versus disc argument, I like physical more. I think there's still a lot of advantages to and not that you're not saying that there aren't. You're a digital guy because you like to have things now and you like to be ready to go.
I wouldn't say I'm a digital guy. I just I buy some things digital and some things physical. I don't really care either way. I'm not a guy that trades in games.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
So
you're a collector.
And I'm not saying that digital is the right way either, but I'm just saying that's where the market's moving. I mean, no one buys music in music stores anymore. They download the MP3s. And when I say no one, I don't mean like 0%. I mean, there's a small percentage of people that still buy discs. No, not many people buy DVDs these days as 5 years ago. Like the spending on physical medium isn't on an upward curve, it's on a downward curve for things like movies and DVDs and television episodes. People are buying this stuff through iTunes, or buying it through or they're streaming it through Netflix or watching it on Hulu.
Absolutely.
People don't buy music the way they used to. They download the MP3 albums, or they listen to Spotify if they're in the US, or iTunes Radio when iOS 7 comes out. Like, people don't want physical stuff anymore. Like, we've gotten to a point as consumers that the stuff that we get digitally is just as good as the stuff that we had in the analog form, ebooks, all that stuff. And for a lot of people, the thought of driving to a store, picking up a disc, coming home and playing it is less attractive than hitting two buttons, having it charge their credit card anyway, and then start the download immediately. And especially with the new consoles, when you can start playing immediately when the game starts downloading, it's going to be a lot more attractive for people. There still will be people that want the physical stuff, and there's still going to be a lot of games that I'm going to want physically, because I collect things, and there'll be certain franchises that I'm going to want to have the physical disc just to have the thing to put on my shelf and collect dust. But as an industry in pretty much any entertainment medium, we're moving to a world where digital is going to be the norm and physical is going to be the exception.
Yeah, if it isn't already the norm, right? I mean, there are very few people I don't know that don't have Netflix because the price point is just so attractive. You're talking to $8.99 a month. Where the hell do I sign up, right? Last year in North America, 210 million units of CDs were sold, which seems like a lot, but we're talking about North America as a whole, and that's down 80% since 2005. So, I mean, that's massive, right? The advantage to having a digital copy is the fact that retailers do a lot to promote things in store to get you in. So there's a little bit more promotion going on when it comes to marketing that is just done on the retailer side because they want you to come into the door. But internet marketing is also very cheap. So it's not like there is a big deficit to fill up with, well, I've got this guy working in a box store that he's like getting people to come in and buy this game from this store. Well, you've got a bunch of people who are talking on Twitter about a game, and if it's good, those people are probably worth a lot more than the guy who owns the store, So they tend to balance out quite well. And yeah, we're definitely going to digital. And I think Microsoft is right in moving in that direction. But Sony is also right there moving in that direction. But they're just a lot quieter about it, right? They're not saying like, hey, listen, we're not pigeonholing you into this thing.
They're not forcing everybody. They're not forcing anybody's hand. They know that the endpoint for this trajectory is going to land in a place where digital is the only way to get this stuff. They know that it's not today. They know that it's probably 10 years out, but they know that each year more stuff is going to become available online digitally, and more people are going to start buying their stuff online digitally. So why do we have to stand up and say, no, you can't do this, and no, we're not allowing you to do that, and no, we're going to be checking to make sure that you're not selling your licenses and still trying to use those games illegally, assuming that every single of your consumers is a criminal, and they're just saying, yeah, I mean, why would we tell people they can't do something today when in 5 years they're probably going to do it the way we want them to do anyway?
And I think
that was probably the smartest thing that happened at E3 was Sony, their press conference standing ovation that they got was smart, but the fact that they realized that this is where the industry is going, why are we going to anger our people that are spending money for us? Why the people that funnel money to our bank accounts, why do we want them angry at us? We want them happy with us. We want them spending more money with us. So this is going to happen anyway. Why don't we just shut up and let it happen and not ruffle any feathers?
Yeah, it's interesting that the consoles are trying to pretty much do the same thing. Although I get Microsoft a lot more on the television side and the connectivity of with the HDMI in, and we want to use this as a set-top box. And Sony's like, yeah, we've got movies and TV and stuff like that, but we're really making games first. The consoles are trying to do the same thing, but Sony has been so freaking good at telling you that, like, listen, it's going to be the same as the last one, just more powerful, and there's going to be more ways to use it, which you're going to like. And Microsoft is effectively saying, listen, we're telling you what you want without asking you what you want, and here it is, and too bad if you don't like it, go buy an Xbox 360, Yeah. And that's really stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb.
But they've learned, or I shouldn't say that because they probably haven't learned. They had to cave, I was blown away that they made this announcement. I didn't think it was going to happen. When I saw it on Kotaku, right away, I texted Lloyd. I was like, Lloyd, you have to, like, I tried to call him actually, and I realized I didn't have your number. All I had was your email, which is how we've been texting. And I was like, Lloyd, it happened. I mean, they caved, everything. It was all caps lock, and Lloyd's like, holy shit, what the hell's going on? Like, and then he just started laughing. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's actually a really good response to the whole thing.
And I made a tweet about how Microsoft is now changing the name of their console as well. They're calling it the Xbox 180 to reference their bot. And I was like, I'm pretty proud of that tweet. That was pretty good. I was in the middle of like spending time with the family, and I took 5 minutes to read the article, laugh, make a tweet, and then go about my business, and then worry about it later in the day. Yeah, it was so stupid, man. Like everything that Microsoft has done, it's like, okay, we really want to be in the console business before. How can we like keep ourselves from selling anything in the future? How can we ruin ourselves as a company? It seems like they were doing that. Like it seems almost too perfect of a bad marketing plan that they took upon themselves and started like moving on. Like they did everything wrong. And Sony now is the savior. And I still know a lot of people that were huge Xbox fanboys that never wanted a PlayStation console, that didn't cancel their PlayStation 4 pre-order, and they still haven't placed an Xbox One. They're like, yeah, Microsoft didn't appreciate me as a customer. They didn't appreciate that I had been a loyal fan for 2 console generations, so screw them. I'm gonna buy this other console and see what happens. Whether they keep their pre-order, who knows? But this insulted enough people enough where Microsoft is probably going to be feeling the aftershocks of this horrible, horrible E3 for many, many months and maybe years to come.
Yeah, it's certainly a watershed moment in in their company's history, in the Xbox's history. I think that they're going to be in a much better position now. I thought that the consoles were going to sell out no matter which camp you were in come launch. And I think that there's going to be obviously more of a demand, as we talked about earlier in the show, there's going to be more of a demand for the Xbox One. Do I think it's smart to buy one? My answer would be no for both of them. Only because, and I was ready to go out and buy a pre-order a PS4. I was going to do it. And then I kind of calmed down a bit and I was like, listen, Jeff, stop doing what you're doing. I know you're excited, but quite frankly, it's just kind of a bad decision to buy them right out of the box because they don't necessarily have the greatest lineup and a lot of the services won't be available and all these things that we've come to know and expect from a video game console launch. Microsoft did a good thing, but they did it because they did a bunch of bad things. And I'm not quite sure if that makes up for, a lot of bad mistakes making one good decision. It certainly makes me go, okay, you know what? Thank you. Even though I don't really want to say thank you, I want to say, yeah, duh, like that's what I want to say. I don't want to say, hey, thanks, Microsoft, a lot. I want to go, yeah, what the hell are you thinking? Like, why didn't you just do that to begin with? Yeah. Drop the price, get rid of that camera on my TV, and then, we'll be fine again.
Yeah, that is still, like, there was 3 problems that Microsoft had. It was this whole DRM crazy kerfuffle, the camera, and the price. And now they still have 2 black eyes. They had 3 somehow. They had an extra eye that was black. Now they only have 2 black eyes, which can still cause them problems in the future. Yeah,
and I think that the price is going to be a big thing. If they offered somebody, I think it was Sinister in the chat room saying, if they offered a year of Xbox Live Gold, that'd be great because the difference between the consoles would really only be about $40. They're not going to do that. I don't think they'll drop the price either. I was really surprised that they made this move, but I think it was something they had to do to kind of get back in the good books. I wanted to ask you, maybe this is like the last question before we kind of move on, but this seemed to me like it was a decision handed down from Microsoft, the corporation, not the Xbox division.
Yeah, sorry, continue. I don't want to.
That was basically what I wanted to say. Did it seem like that to you? Because when it came out, I was really surprised, and I feel like the guys at the top are like, "Listen, you guys are fucking up right now. Like, get it together."
Yeah, it's change it. To me, it seems like they hit a threshold of pre-order. Pre-orders, so there was more pre-orders for PlayStation 4 than the Xbox One. They saw a volume of hate on social media and other forums. And I think the straw that broke the camel's back was you had Sony on a Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, and they showed off the PlayStation 4. And Jimmy Fallon's like, oh yeah, so this is the only new console coming out that can play used games. Those things are important, eh? You can go to GameStop and buy a game for cheaper and put it in the system. This supports it. And then the next day, Microsoft has this press release. So I think it hit the mainstream media, and Microsoft's like, crap. Even the gaming public, or not the non-gaming public, people that aren't hardcore, aren't the core people that are going to buy our system anyway, know about this. Okay, this has to change. This has gone beyond pissing off a few of our customers. We're now the laughing stock, and we're now having mainstream media talk about it, which means that if a kid asks for an Xbox One for Christmas, the parents are going to say, well, no, you don't want that thing. You want the other one that plays used games, because we're not made of money. We're not going to be buying full games all the time. We're going to buy those used ones because I hear they're cheaper.
You don't want the parent of a child gamer to have more information than the child.
Yeah.
That is a bad thing.
So to me, I think, to be honest, I think it was the Jimmy Fallon appearance. Because it happened the day before.
Then that happened really friggin' quickly.
Because it happened on Tuesday night, and then the press release came out like 6 p.m. or whatever on Wednesday. So it took.
Was it Wednesday or Thursday?
I think it was Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday was the day we went for lunch. That was the same day, right? Yeah. I have no idea what day of the week it is. God damn.
Yeah, I don't even know. But yeah, it was the day after, so it was on Wednesday.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I have a very, very big suspicion that it was absolutely a decision handed down from Microsoft, the corporation, to the Xbox division. Like, guys, did you see this thing on Jimmy Fallon? Like, we didn't even know you were making a new console, but get your crap together, like that kind of thing. And then, yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, that's actually very timely, right?
Yeah.
You got a guy who, Jimmy Fallon often gets people who make video games on, like when they demoed a big part, the place burning down in Uncharted 3. They demoed that first on Jimmy Fallon, you know? So
after every 3, they have the big 3 come on Jimmy Fallon one night and they demo their big games. So yeah, you sent me a text at 4:11 on the 19th, so Wednesday. So yeah, it was about 4 p.m. So the end of a business day. So they saw this thing Tuesday night, and it took them a whole business day for Microsoft to respond to it.
Wow.
I don't know if that's what broke the straw that broke the camel's back, but to me, it was just like it was too timely to not have been a big reason for this like rollback on the thing that was baked into the DNA of the console and could never be changed.
Yeah, this was hardwired in. Day one patch, you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Like as soon as I saw day one patch, I'm like, are you kidding me? And like, if somebody buys one, please tell me how big the patch is, because if it's like 3 megabytes, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. Like, it better be 16 gig or something,
And the funny thing is, what if you're buying this console and you live in a place that doesn't have internet connection, and you heard that this system doesn't require you to have internet connection anymore, so you buy it, but you need an internet connection to get the day one patch. So that'll probably only be for like the first like million consoles or something.
I really hope there are some good people working in GameStop that tell them, like, listen, you can't buy this system if you don't have the internet, because you're still going to be screwed,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can't imagine that's going to happen though.
Oh, Microsoft.
But again, they did a good thing. They waited too damn long. They're still not all that high and mighty. It's not like let's just completely undo everything by just going back on it. You admitted a fault in a very roundabout, backhanded way and said, listen, fine, whatever, we'll do all this, but we're taking away your family plan.
Yeah,
like,
their marketing is more negative. It's like, we told you all the stuff you couldn't do, but fine, you didn't like that, so fine. Yeah, we'll give it you what you want, but all the good stuff that we said you'd get, we're taking that back.
The only good thing,
it's like, I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. Screw you guys.
Yeah. That's a cool feature, the family sharing plan. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, sweet, we got all their stuff back. Let's take family plan away. That's like being punished.
Yeah.
Again, it's come on, guys. Yep. Is it really going to hurt you? But again, like now I can lend you a game if I wanted to, that's great. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't need a family plan, because the family plan now is hand the disc over, which
I'm very excited to see just what they're going to say next, and I think, you said earlier something that's very timely, is that Sony has done such a good job of speaking when they had the opportunity to speak. And now they're doing a really good job of just shutting up. And that's the best thing they could do right now, is like, hey, let's let them dig their own damn grave. We don't have to do anything anymore. We'll just keep bringing in new features if we have to. And, people will love the system, and we're just going to show the games and people are going to be really into it. We don't have to say anything about Microsoft, even indirectly, because quite frankly, we have the advantage still, and we're going to ride that through. So that's great.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, you think we beat this horse to the ground?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're done. What do you say we call the show a close, or is there any of the other stories that you want to get into? We've already been going for 2.5 hours. So
yeah, Fez 2's in development, guys. I'm very excited about that. I think that's cool.
And it won't be on a Microsoft console.
It won't be. Yeah. So
Phil Fish said it will not be on the Xbox One.
Yeah. So you'll get your PS4 and your Steam release. So that's cool. Yeah. Fez 2. I thought Fez was really good. I still haven't beaten it, but I really liked it. So I was excited to see that was in development. That's all I want to say. It's in development. There you go. There's your news.
Cool. Take it and go home. And if you don't like it, we're going to take the news away next week. We won't do news. I mean, fine. If that's the way you want it, we're not going to give it to you.
Yeah. And we won't do reviews either.
Yeah.
By the way, go buy those 2 games. Go to PNP or go to whatever game stores around your area and get those. Did I just say area?
Area, you did say area. See, neither our tongues are working. We've been talking for too long.
We need to get out of here.
Yeah. So go to pnpgames.com, order your games online, and tell them that the VG Podcast Network sent you. They'll be happy to hear from you. All right, guys, that's going to about do it for this episode of the Bonus Stage Podcast. We love hearing from you guys. Head on over to vgpodcast.com. You can click contact us at the top of the page to email us, or just do it directly, vgpodcast@gmail.com. Send in your questions. We'll talk about them and respond to them in future episodes of the show. You can also leave us a voicemail at 505 VG Podcasts, and we'll get to that and play it on the show as well. Yeah, that's gonna about do it, man. I think we talked about some good stuff this week. Last of Us, so good. Go get it. Remember Me was okay. It was Remember Meh. But just because I played Last of Us, so I wish I would have played it in a different order. Maybe it would have been a different thing. But maybe I'll talk about it next week. We'll see if I can force myself to get through it.
And go buy Animal Crossing.
Oh yeah, if you're into that kind of thing. If you have a 3DS, you probably already have Animal Crossing because you can't find it in stores, so everybody is going and getting it. But yeah, definitely pick that one up. It is such a great game. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week. So we'll talk to you in about a week's time. Take it easy, enjoy those games, and let us know what you think about Microsoft. That should make for some really good emails.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, guys, talk to you next week.
See you.
Let's get started.